Both my sister and I are protagonists in our own stories. She holds the lead role in a major entertainment industry script, playing a prominent female figure, while I am the central character in a painful romance where love blossoms after an arranged marriage. She envies that I can inherit company shares by simply having a child, and that I can lead a comfortable, luxurious life with the option of stepping into the company as vice president whenever I wish. Meanwhile, she has to control her desires, work tirelessly in filming, and endure the criticism of malicious fans. If only we could swap our roles. On our way back from ancestor worship, the brakes failed and we both plunged off a cliff. When we awoke, we were reborn. My sister rushed to marry into a wealthy family and experienced a love after marriage plot with a disabled, domineering CEO. I gently warned her that being a rich daughter-in-law isn't as easy as it seems. But she believed I was only reluctant to give up my luxurious life and was determined to make it difficult for me to rise in the entertainment industry. Fine. Let her have it. I was reborn at the moment the Ethan family proposed a marriage alliance. My mother's gaze at me was filled with worry and guilt. There was a problem at our family's construction site, causing a sharp drop in stock prices. Forming an alliance with the Ethan family was the only way to get through this rough patch. Mum knew Ethan was disabled, but his mother promised to treat the daughter-in-law well. Diana, you're the elder sister, so you should be understanding. Before I could respond, Anna grabbed Mum's hand and sincerely said, Mum, Grandpa made it clear in the betrothal arrangement that it was meant for the younger granddaughter. Even though Ethan is now disabled, we can't break our promise. Let me marry him. Mom, knowing I was still there, couldn't openly speak ill of the Ethan family, so she subtly hinted that it was a dangerous situation. Unfortunately, Anna had made up her mind and wouldn't change. Mom had no choice but to agree, and they both cried together. I finally understood that Anna had also been reborn in the past. Back then, she despised Ethan for his disability, causing a scene, threatening to harm herself, and eventually forcing me to marry him. My mother-in-law was extremely controlling. She insisted I give up the factory I had just gained and stay home to prepare for pregnancy and give birth to a son. Amelia was always causing trouble, setting unreasonable rules, and even slapping me for the smallest things. Ethan's temperament was unpredictable, and he would beat me during the pregnancy process to ease his own insecurities. I had no choice but to take a step back and demand company shares and a vice president position in the Ethan family as compensation. Anna only saw my outward appearance, not the struggles and challenges I faced behind the scenes. When I was reborn, Anna couldn't wait to take back the marriage she once discarded. While this made sense, even though we both married into the Ethan family, our mother's treatment of Anna and me was completely different. I've always known she favored Anna, but it still hurt to see it extend to such a significant life event. Since this was the case, I decided to live for myself and create my own path. When Anna agreed to the alliance, Dad was all smiles, but as soon as he saw me, he was furious. Look at how sensible your sister is, and look at you. A useless waste who can't help the family at all. Being sensible always means sacrificing your own interests for others, which is a restraint, a shackle. I didn't care at all. Anna, sitting aside, smiled and advised Dad. I heard an actor can earn 2.08 million a day. Sister has a good image and will surely become popular. When she starts earning, she can also help the family. Upon hearing this, Dad immediately agreed and ordered me to leave the factory and enter the entertainment industry. The company was in financial trouble and the stock prices had fallen. I had already expected this response from Dad and had anticipated his refusal to let me stay at the factory. So I agreed without hesitation. Anna's expression was full of disdain. After dinner, when we went upstairs, Anna blocked my way with a sarcastic look. "Dear sister, you can never compare with me." I smiled faintly, showing respect, blessings, and confusion. I sneered. Anna had seen so many dark sides of the entertainment industry in her previous life. Yet now she was trying to push me into the fire. I was planning to share my experience as a rich lady with her, but not anymore. I would let her know that success or failure depends on the choices a person makes. Anna's wedding was in 2 months, and she was busy with preparations, leaving me free to focus on auditions. Unfortunately, the results were always unsatisfactory. Eventually, I was cast as a maid beside the Empress in a period drama and as the lead in a low-budget online drama. After considering my options, I chose the latter. When Anna heard the news, she mocked me, saying, "Sister, you might as well beg me. If I'm in a good mood, I might introduce you to a boss." I had already anticipated that Anna had warned others not to offer me good roles, but I didn't care and didn't argue with her. I focused on studying the script instead. Anna entered the entertainment industry with family resources, but she refused to invest time in honing her acting skills, often throwing her weight around. She was jokingly called Miss Number by her peers. She didn't realize that mature acting skills could overcome all resource disadvantages. The low-budget online drama I starred in was about rebirth and revenge, which resonated with my own life experience. I was confident in my ability to portray it well. When Anna saw that I ignored her, she even tried to steal my script. I smiled and finally spoke up. "I beg you, it's better to go and beg my good brother-in-law." Anna was furious and ready to lash out at me, but when the phone rang, her face lit up with a smile. She threw a few sarcastic comments my way and left. I couldn't help but sneer at her as she walked away. How could she still be so naive, even after getting a second chance at life? To focus on my script, I moved to live on the film set, immersing myself in the work. I had hired an acting coach to help me refine the character's inner emotions, and I usually nailed it in one take. During breaks, I would watch others perform, and the director, noticing my eagerness to learn, would offer me advice. As a result, I made rapid progress. Although the online drama was shot by a small crew, the environment was great, and my colleagues were friendly. The 2 months of shooting flew by. After filming wrapped up, I treated the whole crew to a meal, and the director gave me a generous red envelope. There was no reason to stay on set, and since Anna's wedding was approaching, I returned home. As soon as I arrived, Anna made a scene, asking me to be her bridesmaid. I suspected she had ulterior motives and refused. But under her moral blackmail in front of my parents, I reluctantly agreed. The wedding was extravagant, and Anna beamed with smiles while toasting. She purposely introduced me to several portly bosses. Having attended many business meetings in the Ethan family in my previous life, I understood what she was trying to do. She wanted to get me drunk and send me to someone else's bed in exchange for benefits. But I was no longer the Diana who would let her push me around. I pretended to be friendly, and she seemed satisfied, asking me to mingle with the bosses while she continued to toast. As soon as she left, I found an excuse to slip away. Recalling my previous life, I quickly scanned the banquet hall and spotted Sophia sitting in a corner. I approached her and greeted her warmly. "Miss Sophia, are you interested in collaborating?" She looked at me tiredly, and I explained my intention to invest and become a shareholder. She became excited and spoke enthusiastically. I listened with a smile, impressed by her ideas. Many people had overlooked her in my past life, but I knew she had immense potential. Back then, when I became vice president of the Ethan Group, I had planned to develop the entertainment sector, and Sophia could have competed with Anna's company. Unfortunately, I never got the chance to work with her before I died. This time, I couldn't let the opportunity slip by. Sophia, noticing my distracted expression, asked cautiously how to become a shareholder. I handed her my business card and arranged a meeting to discuss the collaboration. She eagerly agreed, and I had already formulated a plan. Though rising in the entertainment industry was impressive, my goal was to become a major player in the capital sector. After finalizing the deal with Sophia, something unexpected happened on Anna's side. She was confronted and reprimanded by Ethan's sister, who warned her, "Now that you've married my brother, don't even think about being unfaithful. Or don't blame me for being harsh." Anna had never experienced such humiliation. Furious, she tried to retort, but Amelia slapped her hard, leaving her stunned. Ethan and his mother looked the other way, silently approving of Amelia's actions. I smiled quietly. The Ethan family was the same as before, always eager to impose rules. Anna's future would be difficult. After Anna's marriage, just like in my previous life, she was not allowed to work and could only stay home to prepare for pregnancy. She enthusiastically searched for folk remedies to have a son, but it no longer concerned me. I found time to meet with Sophia, who had started her own studio and was planning a girl group talent show but lacked startup funds. This type of show was new, and she was one of the first to try it. During my college years, I had participated in competitions and won scholarships. I had also joined my senior in big projects. Now, with enough savings to invest, I agreed without hesitation, demanding half the shares, which she readily accepted. We signed the contract, and the work began. Sophia began perfecting the program details while I signed a few promising actors and poached experienced agents. I also reached out to a certain website. 3 years later, their top works would be adapted into films and TV dramas, bringing huge profits. To prepare, I signed several promising screenwriters to start writing short dramas. Having a second chance at life, I understood the trends in the entertainment industry. It was like being in a wind tunnel where even a pig could be blown to fame. The small online drama I starred in received a great response when it aired, and I gained a small but loyal fan base. More and more acting offers flooded in, and I chose an ancient costume romantic drama to continue improving my acting skills. Although I intended to eventually work behind the scenes, since I was acting, I had to be accountable to both myself and my fans. I made a public announcement that I had signed with Sophia's studio, but kept my investment in it a secret, focusing instead on filming. After 6 months of hard work, the studio was on the right track, and the girl group talent show was nearing its end. Sophia released the promotional video, but the feedback was underwhelming, and the industry's outlook was largely negative. I reassured her to stay calm, though I was feeling anxious myself. Thankfully, once the program aired, it became an immediate success, well received by viewers for its fresh concept. The girl group officially debuted, and many entertainment companies, noticing the success, reached out for potential collaborations. Drawing from my memories of my previous life, I screened several companies for long-term and mutually beneficial partnerships. By the time the show wrapped, we had made significant profits, and the Chew studio gained a solid reputation in the entertainment world. Just as I was about to scale up the studio, my mother told me Anna was pregnant. Anna, with her slightly swollen belly, approached me to gloat. "Sister, we women should stay home, take care of our husbands, and raise our children. What kind of image is it to show yourself in public?" I retorted with sarcasm. "Did you lose your mind after getting married? Instead of wasting your time like this, you should be more focused on controlling your husband's behavior." In my previous life, although Ethan was paralyzed from the waist down, his mental state was even worse, and he went to great lengths to torment me. However, once I was certain I was pregnant, I turned the tables and subdued him. Soon after, he began keeping mistresses, and based on the timing, I guessed it was about that time now. Anna grew angry, her breath becoming shallow as I hit the nail on the head. I quickly moved away, worried she might miscarry and blame me for it. At that moment, I was reading a message from Sophia, informing me that several artists under my management had passed auditions for a prominent director and landed roles as supporting actresses in a film. These were talented individuals who could eventually win Best Actress awards if I nurtured them well. Anna continued listing all the ways Ethan treated her like a treasure, probably trying to provoke me. Unfortunately, I wasn't moved by her words. Tired of hearing her, I suddenly stood up and looked down at her. "Anna, I suggest you stop bothering me, or don't blame me for revealing all your dirty secrets." I remembered how she had intentionally tampered with my car's brakes in my past life, causing me to fall off a cliff and die a horrific death. The anger surged within me, but I knew I wasn't yet in a position to take on the Ethan family. However, handling Anna herself was more than enough. She trembled, but not wanting to lose face, she forced herself to appear composed. "Just you wait." I raised an eyebrow, curious to see how things would unfold. Unexpectedly, Anna's revenge came quickly. I was practicing my lines in the lounge when my assistant urgently approached, asking if the negative rumors online about me were true. I had no idea what was going on. I took the phone and scrolled through the trending rumors. Someone had accused me of being kept by a boss during my college years, claiming I had stolen others' scholarships and project opportunities. Among other lies, many classmates appeared in the comments, sharing stories of how I had supposedly bullied them, each testimony seeming like undeniable proof designed to push me into ruin. The media quickly dug up my identity and interviewed my parents, who admitted the rumors were true, putting on a tearful performance. "Diana has done many wrong things in the past. It's our fault for not raising her properly. We hope she can wake up and that everyone will give her a chance to change." My heart sank as I realized how partial they were and how they had directly destroyed my reputation. I put the phone away, and the director, looking troubled, informed me that my role had been reassigned. I understood that Anna had used the Ethan family's influence to pressure the director. In this industry, capital controls most of the resources. I didn't want to make things harder for the director, so I simply packed my things and returned to the studio with my assistant. Sophia was pacing nervously, deeply concerned. "All your activities have been suspended. This is a fatal blow to a new actress." My eyes darkened slightly, but I was secretly relieved that I had kept my investment and stake in the studio a strict secret. Otherwise, Anna would have found a way to attack it. I reassured Sophia, urging her to focus on expanding the studio's scale while I hired professionals to investigate the rumors and identify those responsible for spreading them. It turned out they were the online trolls the Diana family had been paying. I tried to remain calm as I began collecting evidence to prepare a lawsuit for defamation. Unfortunately, after consulting multiple lawyers, none were willing to take on the case. I was becoming increasingly anxious, especially with Anna pregnant and the Ethan family indulging her. Just as I reached a dead end, I received a mysterious message. "I can help you with the lawsuit. Meet me at the Lawn Pie Cafe in 30 minutes. Was this an opportunity or a trick? Unsure, I drove to the cafe. On the second floor, I saw only one person sitting by the window, her head down, her emotions unreadable. I approached calmly and took a seat. She was neither submissive nor imposing, and immediately began discussing the lawsuit with me. After a thorough discussion, we agreed to cooperate, and I showed her the evidence I had gathered so far. After reviewing it, she agreed with a smile. I found myself curious, asking, "Why do you want to help me? Aren't you worried about retaliation from the Ethan family?" She responded, calm and steady. "If I were afraid of revenge, I wouldn't take this case. It would go against my intention of becoming a lawyer." It was clear she had a story, but since she didn't want to share it, I didn't press. After exchanging contact details, I returned to the studio. Sophia was pleasantly surprised when I arrived. "Did you know there's been a turnaround in your situation?" I was puzzled, but upon checking the hot search, I saw that public opinion had shifted dramatically. Initially, the public was outraged by my supposed theft of scholarships and project opportunities in college, and many went to the school's official website demanding that my graduate title be revoked and the scholarship and project profits returned. Under pressure, the school launched a thorough investigation, and the results revealed that my GPA had been top-notch, and the sources of my project opportunities were entirely legitimate. My alma mater, one of the top universities in the country, upheld its reputation for fairness, and this investigation completely debunked the rumors. Those who had spread the lies were humiliated, and the public grew curious about why I, a business major, had entered the entertainment industry. They even uncovered that my parents had pressured me into it just months ago. To make matters worse, my parents had admitted to the media that the rumors were true, showing their clear favoritism toward Anna. This public revelation caused a massive backlash against them, and suddenly, my public image reversed completely. I even gained a group of new fans, though it all felt like a stroke of luck. I couldn't help but wonder if it was truly chance, or if there was something more to it. I received a message from lawyer William, informing me that she would fully represent me in the lawsuit against the Diana family's online trolls. This meant I had officially severed ties with my family. Moreover, the Ethan family had grown displeased with Anna's behavior and ordered her to stay at home until after the child was born. Sophia also told me that many directors were now eager to work with me. I furrowed my brow slightly, considering a different course of action. I decided to take on only a few cameo roles to maintain my visibility, leaving the major opportunities for fresh talent. It's not because I'm overly generous. This time, Anna's revenge has made me realize that only when I am strong enough can I avoid being easily manipulated by others. Therefore, I need to accelerate the pace of my plans. Using the knowledge from my past life, I secured several promising projects before the Ethan family could, while also investing in various industries. At the same time, I had my friends acquire scattered shares of the Ethan family's company. The key figures in the industry also began to notice that my projects were bound to be profitable and started reaching out to collaborate. I happily accepted their offers. Once the projects I purchased were adapted into films and TV dramas, I earned significant profits. The short dramas also attracted a large audience, generating considerable income for the company. In just 6 months, the company grew from a small studio with 20 employees to a leading force in the entertainment industry. More and more artists signed contracts with us. And I wasn't an idle either. I began gathering compromising information about Anna to give her a taste of her own medicine. I filed a lawsuit against the online trolls working for the Diana family for defamation and won the case. When my parents found out, they were furious and called to accuse me of being ungrateful, claiming that Anna's success in giving birth to a son made her an invaluable asset to the Ethan family. But I wasn't the same daughter who would let them control me anymore. I signed the contract for the land in the western suburb that was set to be developed and signed it with a sneer, wondering if they had ever considered me their daughter when they helped Anna deceive everyone. My father threatened to sever our relationship, which didn't bother me in the slightest, and I immediately agreed. At that moment, I received an invitation from Ethan's mother. It seemed that since I had touched the Ethan family's interests, they could no longer ignore me. I went to meet her at the cafe. When I arrived, Ethan's mother still looked composed and dignified, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. In my previous life, after marrying Ethan, I focused on business books in my study, and, thanks to experience working on projects with my seniors, I quickly caught Ethan's mother's attention. After Ethan's disability, his temperament drastically changed, making him unsuitable to take over the family business. The Ethan family, being extremely traditional, was unwilling to hand over control to Amelia, so they chose to groom me instead. Ethan's mother sneered and said, "Miss Diana really has an eye for business. Your investment projects are sure to succeed." My heart sank, realizing I had essentially taken food from a tiger's mouth. It was only a matter of time before the Ethan family took notice of me. But for now, they couldn't touch me. Though they were powerful, my alliances with several big names protected me. Ethan's mother handed me the contract saying, "Although Miss Diana has remarkable business acumen, I still want to give you a piece of advice. A powerful dragon can't crush a local snake." It was a warning, but I recalled how the Ethan family had treated me in my past life. So I feigned ignorance and pushed the contract back. "What do you mean, Ethan's mother? In the business world, it's the capable who thrive. Although the Ethan family has a century-old history, it's decayed and weak inside." Her face grew angry as she thought I was being ungrateful, but I continued to smile. "However, there are no enemies in the business world, right?" Her interest piqued as she looked at me. I remained confident and advised her to pay attention to real estate investment. The Ethan family originally made their fortune from real estate, but it was Ethan's father's poor decision-making that led to their decline. After Ethan's father had no choice but to marry someone from a similar background, the family regained its footing. Ethan's mother said nothing and gracefully gathered her things to leave. I watched her go, pondering the next move. It seemed it was time to add fuel to the fire. Ethan's mother shifted her focus back to real estate, and after investing, she saw substantial returns. She then invited me to the full moon celebration for the Ethan family's first grandchild. I knew this was my chance to gain access to top-tier resources. I dressed appropriately and arrived at the event. When Anna saw me, her face filled with bitterness. "What are you doing here? The Ethan family doesn't want you." Her voice drew the attention of those nearby, and she smugly called security to eject me. Just in time, Ethan's mother arrived and reprimanded Anna for causing a scene, which indirectly confirmed our partnership. Anna's eyes burned with resentment as I followed Ethan's mother around, networking with industry professionals. During the toasts, I managed to secure several promising collaborations. Ethan's mother was soon called away by a nanny, possibly due to something with the child. Anna finally seized the moment and with her entourage blocked my path. Anna crossed her arms and mocked. "Sister, now that you've been cast out of the Diana family, are you still eating well? Haven't you been sleeping with some boss?" Her sisters laughed and flattered her. "Don't you know Anna is now a major asset to the Ethan family?" Ethan's mother said that as long as she has a child, boy or girl, she'll be rewarded with a house, a car, and 2 million yuan. "Someone like you isn't even worthy to carry her shoes." It seemed they had completely reduced her to a baby-making tool, even taking away her right to manage the household. I pretended to be envious and congratulated her with a smile, all the while thinking about the show that was about to unfold. Anna was about to respond when Ethan's mother called her to prepare for a speech. I stood off to the side, lost in thought. Did she really think my 3 years of undercover work in my past life had been for nothing? With the glow of new motherhood on her face, Anna gave a speech expressing gratitude to the Ethan family. She then ordered the prepared baby photos to be displayed. But instead of the photos she intended, the screen showed a report about Ethan's oligospermia, alongside images of Anna visiting her lover's house. Clearly, it was highly likely that the child wasn't even Ethan's. The room erupted in chaos. My sister, standing nearby, was stunned and screamed for someone to turn off the computer. Ethan's sister was the first to act. She rushed forward and slapped Anna, yelling, "You little vixen! I warned you before, and yet you still dared to deceive us." The scene descended into chaos. To try and salvage the situation, Ethan's mother apologized and ushered the guests out. She then took Anna and her lover to the hospital for tests. However, the guests were all captivated by the drama. And soon, everyone in the circle knew about Ethan's condition. Watching this spectacle, I felt a surge of satisfaction. I exchanged a knowing look with Ethan's sister before turning away. I instructed my team to transfer funds to the account of the mistress Ethan had been seeing, making sure my role in it remained anonymous. Then, I returned home and relaxed in a bath, my mind drifting back to my previous life. Before preparing for pregnancy in my previous life, I arranged for both of us to undergo physical exams. And that's when I discovered that Ethan had oligospermia. I helped him keep this secret from the Ethan family, which improved his attitude towards me significantly. I became pregnant through in vitro fertilization, but Anna remained unaware of it. Desperate to conceive, she had an affair, and the test results about Ethan's condition were leaked by his mistress, who clearly aimed to replace Anna. Seizing the chaos within the Ethan family, I returned to my company and ramped up collaboration with various bosses, pouring large sums of money into new projects. A few days later, I learned that the baby wasn't Ethan's, and he physically assaulted Anna in his fury. As she saw her chance, Ethan's sister pledged to Ethan's mother that she would take control and quickly assumed the role of general manager. Ethan's mother took Ethan on a global tour to treat his condition, but with no one left to run the company, she had no choice but to hand it over to her daughter. I believed the moment I had been waiting for had finally arrived. Ethan divorced Anna and reclaimed all the property she had spent during their marriage. Her dream of being the president's wife crumbled. And moreover, Ethan's mother withdrew all her investments from the Diana family, which was already crumbling. The Diana family officially declared bankruptcy. My parents, furious, either yelled at or beat Anna, turning the house into total chaos. Meanwhile, I began spreading word in the industry that I was launching a real estate project. As soon as Ethan's sister heard this, she immediately intervened. I smiled to myself as I received the news. She was as foolish as she had been in my previous life. But I wasn't rushing. I was playing the long game. I returned to the Diana family home, and Anna greeted me with excitement. Was this you? How else could I have been driven out of the Ethan family? I took a step back, smiling calmly. If you don't want others to know, don't do it yourself. Filled with rage, Anna ignored the pain in her body and lunged at me, grabbing my neck. Why do I keep losing, even with a second chance at life? If it weren't for you, I'd still be the young mistress of the Ethan family. I'll kill you! My chest heaved as I gasped for air, struggling to move my pale lips. The sensation of suffocation overwhelmed me. Hearing the commotion, my parents rushed out, pulling her off me. I gasped for air, feeling as though I were about to die. My parents scolded Anna, unable to comprehend her actions. Anna had never faced such humiliation before, but now she had no value to them. With the Diana family bankrupt, they could only rely on me. I looked at Anna with a mix of emotions. She had always been the favored one, but in both lives she had attempted to kill me. This time, I wouldn't let her get away with it. Without hesitation, I called the police and went to the hospital to get a forensic injury report, proving Anna's intent to kill. She was arrested, and a case was filed. Around the same time, I received word that the real estate project I was developing for the Ethan family had quality issues. Many workers had fallen from the construction site, causing a sharp drop in the Ethan family's stock price. I immediately went to the Ethan Group, where the families of the workers who had been involved in the accident had placed coffins at the entrance and were demanding an explanation. Ethan's sister refused to come out, so the family started a live broadcast, which quickly gained massive attention. The Ethan family stock price plummeted, and I took this opportunity to acquire more shares. With Ethan's mother absent and Ethan's sister unable to handle the situation, shareholders became increasingly dissatisfied with her. After an investigation, it was revealed that she was embezzling funds and taking bribes. A shareholders' meeting was held that night, demanding her removal as general manager. I smiled quietly to myself, watching her fall into her own trap. There was no such thing as a free lunch. That real estate project was half finished from my previous life. To make money, Ethan's sister would have sought profits from substandard materials, which resulted in the workers' accidents during construction. She was ousted from the Ethan Group and came to me, asking why I was developing the project. I shrugged innocently and responded, I just had an idea. I never said it would definitely make money, and you were the one who bought it first. Who can you blame? Over the past year, I had carefully selected profitable projects. And this time, it was a trap I set for her. I had her removed and began stoking the anger of the industry, heavily criticizing the Ethan Group. A few days later, news broke that more than a decade ago, The Ethan family had been involved in an accident on a construction site, leaving a worker severely paralyzed. Despite this, they refused to compensate the worker. Ethan's mother had even used her power to suppress the case by having her nephew run over the worker, preventing the family from seeking justice. As this scandal surfaced, the Ethan family's stock price dropped even further. Many shareholders sold off their shares, and I bought them all. When Ethan's mother heard about this and rushed back, the previous partners of the Ethan family took advantage of the situation, kicking them when they were down and taking over their resources. The Ethan group disintegrated, and Ethan's mother was arrested due to the old case. Everything fell into place. Watching the Ethan group's rise and fall, I couldn't help but reflect on how the world continually changes. As the moment of opportunity arrived, I handed over all the evidence I had collected. The tax bureau sent a team to inspect the company and uncovered that the Ethan Group had been evading taxes for years and was involved in numerous illegal transactions. This broke the Ethan family's capital chain. Taking advantage of this, I acquired and merged the Ethan Group with my company, transforming Chew Company into a leading enterprise. Sitting in the high-rise office of the Ethan Group, looking down at the people below, I felt a mix of emotions. In my previous life, I knew exactly how Ethan's mother operated. After being reborn, I set out to gather evidence against her and expand my company just to bring her down. I had never investigated the old case from more than a decade ago, though. Thinking about this, I picked up the phone and contacted lawyer William. Together, we went to the prison to see Ethan's mother. She had been convicted of corruption, law-breaking, tax evasion, and a series of crimes, and was sentenced to life imprisonment. She had lost all her former grandeur, and when she saw me, smiled bitterly. "I don't understand. I've done nothing to you, and yet you seek revenge. Why?" I remained silent. Our hatred had been planted in my past life. She had controlled my life, and I could have lived freely, but instead I had to endure her interference. Behind me, lawyer William was filled with grief and anger. She spoke up first, accusing me. "Wealthy families never see ordinary people as real people. You killed my father. I've been preparing for over a decade just to make sure you get what you deserve. Everything happening now is because of your own actions." I stepped aside quietly. This old grievance had burdened lawyer William's heart for years. So, when I first asked her why she would risk angering the Ethan family to help me, she explained that her goal in becoming a lawyer was to bring justice to her father and hold the Ethan family accountable. The evidence she had carefully gathered over the years was her final blow. I moved my company into the former headquarters of the Ethan Group and handed full authority of Chew Company to Sophia. Sitting in the vast office, everything felt surreal. Being reborn felt like a dream. I got a call from the Public Security Bureau informing me that Anna had been diagnosed with a mental illness and was not fit for legal responsibility. I slammed my phone onto the floor. Uncertain how much truth there was to her condition, I decided to see it for myself. Anna was finally returned to the Diana family. Having learned from my previous experience, I brought a few bodyguards and waited outside her door. When I entered her room, she turned around, her eyes filled with smugness and defiance. "Sister, you're here. I missed you so much," she said, her voice dripping with insincerity. My heart sank as I realized her illness was fabricated with my parents' help. I didn't approach her. I just stood by the door. She pretended to be insane, saying, "Why is it that you still win in this life?" I'm the real daughter of the Diana family." Her words hit me like a spark in my mind. For a moment, everything seemed to click. I looked at her in disbelief, but as she saw my interest, her smugness grew. "Back then, Mom couldn't get pregnant, so to keep Dad's heart, she adopted you from the orphanage. Then a few years later, she had me. Dad couldn't accept it. No matter what I chose in both lives, it's always you who wins." My heart fluttered slightly, as everything made sense. Before Anna was born, Mom showered me with affection. But after her arrival, she began to favor Anna. From childhood to adulthood, I had to accommodate Anna in everything, whether it was food, clothing, or major life decisions like marriage. It turned out I wasn't even their biological daughter. In an instant, years of resentment faded away. But I still couldn't forgive them, because doing so would mean betraying the little girl I used to be. My voice was calm as I spoke. From the moment I was reborn, I knew I would succeed, because whether in this life or the previous one, I never placed my hopes on others. That's why I've gained control over the household and managed to stand against the ruthless Ethan family. All I needed was to hold the power in my hands, while you only wanted to be a dependent daughter clinging to men. Her eyes grew fierce as she raged. "You still can't do anything to me. I'm in this state now, unable to go to jail, and I can still escape consequences." I bent down, smiling calmly, and replied, "Patients should stay in the hospital. Don't you think?" I had already contacted the director of the mental hospital and arranged a sum of money, instructing them to treat Anna carefully. She had no idea what kind of tragedy would await a person once admitted to a mental hospital. To be thorough, I had a paternity test done, confirming I wasn't the biological daughter of the Diana family. I also had my household registration moved. They were furious. "We've raised you for over 20 years. This is how you repay us?" My heart had already broken, so I said nothing and left them to figure out how to support themselves. When they retired, I would give them only the minimum alimony required by law. It was then that they realized I had no intention of taking care of them anymore. They quickly grabbed me and tried to sweet-talk me, but their late affection meant nothing to me. I continued to expand my business empire using the former Ethan Group as a foundation, gradually diversifying into more industries. Within 5 years, I had expanded nationwide. During this time, I received a call from the mental hospital. They told me Anna often shouted that she wasn't ill and had to undergo electroshock therapy to calm down. After several cycles, she went completely mad. Every day, she would hold a tattered doll, claiming she was the young mistress of the Ethan family and would soon become the general manager of the Ethan Group. I smiled indifferently, merely reminding them not to let things get too out of hand. Meanwhile, my parents, with no financial resources, had to go out and find work. They were used to their previous high-status lifestyle and couldn't accept living on their own earnings. They often fought violently. The once sharp businessman and the elegant rich lady had lost all their former dignity. It's hard to go from luxury to poverty. The business circle, aware of the feud between me and the Diana family, naturally offered them no help. Anna's mother hooked up with a newly wealthy boss, willing to be his mistress to regain her pampered life. But Anna's father found out and beat her badly. The two of them made a scene at the police station and eventually divorced, looking completely embarrassed. After hearing all of this, I could only reflect on the unpredictable nature of life. I had only to fulfill my filial obligations. 3 years later, I remained focused on my business and rejected all romantic advances, concentrating solely on earning money. After a party, I was walking along the street to clear my mind when I saw Ethan. After the downfall of the Ethan family, all the mistresses he had kept fled with his money. He had no savings, no skills, and no dignity left. For a moment, my thoughts drifted back to my past life. In that life, he always found ways to torment me perversely to satisfy his desires. Now, he didn't even have the dignity of a human being. Isn't this the cycle of karma? I walked over, placing a red bill and a bowl in front of him.